Bienvenido, bright rising! Beautiful beings, my first name is Kuwa, Jasiri. My pronouns are the one, elle, beauty, supreme, and I am the founding steward of Authentic Creations, Artistic Apothecary. So I want to take a moment to pause. Notice the sounds around us. So this video, I want to go in on the outline of tracking your anger. So when a moment arises, we did a part 1 video on this, and we go through this process of tracking it. What's going on right now for me, or even in the aftermath of it, what's going on, how you're reacting, ways to cope, and then releasing it, and of course resting. So, without going too much into the other things, I'll just give a brief outline, and then when we get to the parts we're going in on for this video, I will do that. So, triggers, our feelings, so hopefully you're finding ways to have support around that. The feelings wheel, a feelings chart, your common feelings, then we're doing our thoughts and judgments, then we're doing our emotions, and then we're doing how you're acting. Are you bottling or volcanoing? So that's what I want to go in first on. So aspects of volcanoing. So this is what you want to journal for you. How do you volcano? How do you bottle, or I guess it's a strange thing, because in my mind, a volcano might bottle up for some time and then they're exploding, right? So sometimes bottling and volcanoing work together. So, but the volcano aspect we are going in on is when you erupt, the part of eruption. So, in the introduction, we talked about like when you're at your peak, when you're screaming, when you're losing your temper. That's kind of a volcano moment. So, what behaviors do you use when you volcano? So, just going in your body, remembering instances. How does that look for you? Like I was saying, screaming, we're yelling, maybe we're insulting. In my own life, I criticize people or put them down or deliberately like push their buttons, interrupting them. You can be threatening. Maybe you're argumentative, even though you don't really have a point. You're just wanting that tension. So find in your own behaviors what a volcano looks like for you. And I notice sometimes my volcano behaviors are similar to my misplaced anger behaviors, so that's something to notice. So then we'll go in on bottling. So bottling is like a suppression. You're keeping things in, you're pushing them down, and kind of devaluing your dignity around expression and like getting your story out. So what might that look like for you? What behaviors or techniques do you use to bottle? And I noticed in my own life too, it comes out as like some actions. Like I have like a lot of scratching that I do, and I notice that's when there's something weighing heavy on me and I'm just like want to avoid it. So it's kind of like avoidance behaviors, withdraw. Some of mine are staying home, maybe seeking revenge, kind of just mulling over this like sinister plot for them, but never like directly addressing any of the problems or the issues. Sometimes I have trouble eating, or I do substance use. I just want to sleep a lot, so I take sleeping pills, so I just don't have to deal with anything. So what does bottling behaviors, actions, and techniques that you use? And also, bottling can keep us safe, and to also honor our body, like, you want to keep me safe, but we're actually in a space where we have the ability to explore this and what's going on for us, which changes and shifts, and we don't all have that privilege. So honoring your bottling for what it's doing for you, and if you have the privilege and accessibility, let your bottling know that you're ready, capable, able, have the space to deal with things, to express yourself, to tell your story, because that happens too. So then we're also, so that's going in on bottling on volcano, and in general, when you're tracking your anger, you are noticing how bottling or volcanoing, what they gain, what you are gaining from those methods, and what consequences those methods have. So then we're thinking of ways to cope, right? We have all this anger, we're working on dealing with it. So what are some coping methods, some coping methods that you have in your life? So I like to write them down and then also highlight the ones that I want to use more. Like, oh, after I made this list, I noticed like there's some areas that I don't use those methods enough or as much as I think that they'll be beneficial for me. So that's something to notice. So my coping mechanisms, also notice if they're detrimental or if they're positive. So that's just something I like to do too, because I definitely use substances to cope, but there's like the fine line between like this is helpful and this is harmful. So I like deep breaths, meditation, crying, screaming, journaling, music, singing, creating music. I like talking. I like going into nature. I love dancing. Kind of like free writing, not really writing my like what's going on or my traumas, just like write a short story about like a breath of fresh air. I definitely use avoidance or boycotting. Sometimes spaces just like aren't safe and it's necessary to go somewhere else. I love coloring. I love like protesting or like making space for myself. Like I'm actually deserving. So, and then the ones I wanted to go in on more, I just put like little arrows. So those are ways to cope. And then after you figure out some ways to cope with your current situation, we visualize our anger. And so that can be, where is the anger in your body? What color is it? Can you touch it? What is that touch like? If you're not able to touch, why? The color, you're connecting with it. Just like what does it feel like to notice your anger, acknowledge your anger, be with your anger? Other aspects of your anger, is it a shape? And then anything that comes up for you, right? Anger also has thoughts and things like that. You know, anger can reside in your mind and be those sinister plots. So getting a visualization, and maybe it helps you to like draw out your anger, like whatever helps you visualize your anger. Then we're at that point. And then I like to say release, reconnect, replace, rest. So to release your anger, you visualize it, you're getting in tune with that, and then you're also just letting it know, you know, you can leave now. You have done your job, I've received your message, I plan to whatever regarding the message, and then let that anger go. Letting it go creates an emptiness in our body now that we no longer have that anger. And so reconnecting with our body, being present with our body, finding those empty spaces, letting our body know, like, I'm here for you. You did what I asked you to do, and releasing, thank you. Kind of let's just take a moment to regroup, reconnect. And then with your body, with your intention, with your inner self, you're you are deciding what are you replacing that anger with. I love to replace with affirmations, aspirations, positive things, those areas where you're trying to get more happiness. That's also in the introductory video where we're wanting more happiness in our life, because usually anger and happiness are opposites. So yeah, where you want more happiness in your life, that's what I'm replacing, like literally into those spaces that I just emptied out of anger. And of course, that is such big work. And whenever you do anything to tend your wounds, you want to rest. You want to take intentional moments to lay back, to close your eyes, to pause, even if that's like a moment of thank you. Thank you for the message. Thank you for releasing. Thank you for bringing this newness that is more in line with my future. Taking breaths. There's so many ways to rest, to honor the moments. Yay! Thank you so much for exploring your anger with me, tracking it. This can be heavy work. After every video, you probably just want to rest as well, because you're getting all this new information, all these new ways to be with yourself. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of me for showing up to offer you these skills that have been really shifting my life, my relationships, my relationship to myself. As always, we value you.